So we'll start. Uh, I'm I'm looking at. I hate to go through without Lee. I hate to start. Uh, Although Alan is here, we can go through Alan's start of the applications. It turns out that and then he can get out of here instead of waiting. Maybe Lee will come in. Alan had two of them. One of them is a repair on 50 Taylor Street. And Bill, to put that so you know where it is, it's a couple houses south of Lee's driveway. So
Okay.
I ended up doing this repair perk, and I think it was a Title V. I can't remember what both. I think, but it was definitely the repair because Lee felt like he was too close to be not in conflict. So it's a repair, a complete system, a three-bedroom house. It's tucked right in there in his backyard, drops down, and he's in the wetlands very quickly. There's a shed, a garage type thing in the back, but really limited repair space. Uh, the review is complete on this one. It's paid. It's a cleared lot. It's sloped down to the rear to the west. It's actually a 1.14 acre lot, but most of it or half of it looks like it's out in the wetlands. Deep sands, 32-inch water table, wetlands near to at the west. Uh, the high water really prevented us from doing a perk that Alan took it for a sieve analysis. The the issues were the high water table, the wetlands, the wells, a very small area left for an SAS. And as much as Alan knows, I hate beds. Uh, I agreed with him. The bed was the only thing that can fit there and work. The perk rate was determined by the sieve analysis. Uh, Ended up that we got a 4 foot separation using that. The design is for a 1,500 gallon 2 compartment tank with an outlet filter. There's a 14 by 53 foot bed. It's vented, 445 gallons a day provided versus 440 needed. Fill is required. The reserve area is not provided. 4 foot water table separation. Ballast is not required for the tank. There's a polyethylene barrier required. It's called it wrong on the north, west, and south sides of the SAS for breakout control. There's just no space to get the distances out and slow. The existing tank is going to be pumped and crushed and removed. Uh, Alan is actually requiring it. It's not many times. I can't even remember the last time I saw it, but he's actually requiring the installer to do well measurements at the time of the installation.
Yep. Nope. I
Filter,
don't want any hiccups.
yeah, siltation control is specified. The septic tank and SAS separation to the wetlands and the well is greater than 60 feet. He definitely worked to get 60. The tank and well separation, the tank well separation is 85 feet. What I don't have is that the well SAS separation is more than 100. For discussion was that we do need a trench permit. There's fill required. That's why I said that with everything so tight that we ought to get some ties to the septic tank and the SAS just to make sure everything goes where Alan wants it. You have anything, Bill, to add to this one?
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking for it digitally. Colleen, did you send this one out as a PDF?
50 Taylor.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't see it. That's okay. I just
So-
didn't see it. That's all right,
Just-
though.
I
Just
think
what I
so.
could
I think
add?
it did go out. Yeah,
Okay, I'm trying to
but
find it.
I don't know when.
But no, Dick, I'm sure it's fine. So that I'm good with that.
So just so you know, yeah, an RDA was filed and I got a call from Dave today. Everybody's gonna look at it Friday from the other commission.
Okay, good. We'll
The
take care
next
of it.
one, the next one is that Ellen has is 288 Amherst Street. So just to orient you, Bill, on this one, if you're going on Amherst Street, headed to the, I'll call it the north, and you cross Aldrich Lake, you've got the lots that Kid Aldrich split out that start on Amherst Street, and they go parallel to the lake, and then once you get past the power lines on Bachelor Street, the frontage moves to well, I guess a bunch of the frontage is on Bachelor Street. But this one is a double lot, just butting the power lines.
I
And
see that. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and it's very steep up from the not steep enough that I couldn't drive my car down, but it goes steep up to the, I guess we'll call it the north. But
Oh,
down
okay, yeah. I talked to Dave Desolé about that earlier on the
but then down where the
conservation.
septic system is going,
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
have water. It's all sands. There's a
Yeah.
plateau that's all four
Yeah.
sands. So this one's new construction, complete system, a 3-bedroom house. The fee is paid. Let's see what I have here that
Yeah,
I
this is
described
this is the Graffham property for Martin the Liberty. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and 19 and a half acres of land in there, deep sands,
Yeah,
108-inch water table, and the wetlands are the lake, well to the south. The
yeah,
issues are the steep downward slope from the house. In fact, Alan's got a T in the D box to deal with that. And the design is for a new 1,500-gallon 2-compartment tank with an outlet filter. It's got 2 3-foot by 53-foot by 1.5 feet effective depth trenches, vented, 471 gallons a day provided versus 440 needed. Fill is not required. Reserve areas provided between and adjacent to the existing trenches. 5-foot water table separation. Ballast is not required. Siltation control is not specified for this one. The septic tank and SAS separation to wetlands and other wells greater than 100 feet. All I have is the trench permit, and once again, it's a tight distance from the tank to the well. So I've said that we need a tie there to the tank, and that's all I had. It was pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Do you have any other issues, Phil?
Yeah. And Al, and how many feet are you off the edge of the lake?
250 or so.
Okay, and then there's probably a little wetland on the edge of the lake. Dave and I talked about
Yeah,
that.
not
I
even
think that's-
close. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Thank you. We're
So
good.
Colleen, oh, I forgot. We did approve the first one. And
Okay,
now, are we approving this one still too?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna drop for a second out. Bill, I see Sarah Hill is on. She called me up. Now, Sarah, I don't know if you remember, Bill. This is out on the Belchertown end of Bachelor Street.
Yeah.
And they were going to make make an addition, a garage, and it turns out that probably ends up being a very nice master bedroom suite. And we went through saying, gee, we wanna end up making sure that we said it can be a bedroom, and so we were back and forth and changed engineers and looked at septic systems and whether they needed a septic system upgrade, and Neil went out and it turns out what Sarah told me when she called me today, she said, I'm going to do whatever I need to do, whether it's a new septic system. And I said, before you do just a new septic, Neil went out and looked at a D-box that was an issue. They've got the darn infiltrators that we don't love, but we don't know they're bad. We just don't love them. And so we don't know about this system. But what Sarah told me is that some 6 months ago, they tried getting a building permit, and they actually got one. She didn't tell me that, but her husband did. And well, she told me about not getting the building permit. Her husband told me about
What's her exact address again?
415.
415.
450.
Okay.
So
She's
that-
right here.
they-
Sarah's
it's a-
right here. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
It's a new,
Good. Hi.
it's a 20-year-old current design system, Bill. And the issue that they're at right now is they're at the more than into the current building season. And when Sarah and I discussed it, and she said, we'll do whatever we need to do with the septic system, but we're sitting here not being able to do anything, watching the days go by. And so what I suggested to Sarah is she asked, and it's because the Board of Health has stopped the building inspector from giving the permit. We're in the way. And so I suggested to Sarah that she just ask the Board of Health if we would say, as long as Sarah knew she is not going to be able to get an occupancy permit until the septic system is resolved, whatever it is, that she's just asking, could we build this as long as everybody knows up front that she can't move into it and use it until the septic system is resolved. And she's more than happy to resolve it in any way that it wants. It's just that the septic system resolution is slower than getting the system, the house going. And she just wanted to know if we would be willing to just let the permit go and talk to Tom Quinlan and say, everybody knows this is how we're going to handle it, but we're going to let these people get on with building their project. And so to let us have the time to deal with the septic system. And what is your thought, Bill?
So we're saying they could go forward with the structural work. However, there's no CO for occupancy until which we and she deals with the septic system, correct?
That's what her proposal was. And Sarah, is that what you'd be willing to do?
Absolutely. And my engineer, Neil Jackson, and the Board of Health member, Lee, came out and did a perk test last week, which passed. So the wheels are already moving.
What did you say, Sarah? Could you repeat that, please?
I said my engineer, Neil Jackson, and the Board of Health member, Lee, came out to my property last week and did a perk test, and it passed. So the wheels are already in motion.
Oh, okay.
It was
Okay,
just
so
kind
Neil,
of-
you did a perk test in
Yep.
order to put in a new system if need be?
Exactly.
Okay, okay. Because I think originally the issue was no one had done an evaluation to essentially warrant that the current system would take the additional bedroom. I think that's where the standstill emanated.
Right. And in fact, where it got hung up, Phil, is that I'm anxious, if I'm still here, but after next week, 2 weeks from now, but I'm anxious to have Sarah's case actually help us end up coming up with some kind of policy, because if hers would have to be to say that the infiltrators are still working right, because if they're not, when I had talked to Neil about it some time ago, he like us that don't love infiltrators, but that doesn't mean these aren't perfect. We don't know anything about these, and that finding that out would tell the direction that Sarah's going to have to go. But
Yeah, because I
that-
recall looking at her plan, and Neil, you probably would confirm this. I think Donnie Frederick designed the system with the low boy, the flat boy infiltrators years ago, correct?
Yeah.
He didn't even use the high capacities. He used the low ones, the low shell ones, which are more prone to collapse. They're more prone to collapse than the others.
But they might be or not.
They
but
might
we
be
don't know
perfectly
that.
fine.
So,
Yes.
right. So, but the issue that I'm really interested in is that we've got a whole bunch of systems in the town that we've designed with extra capacity so they'll last longer. In fact, they last a long, long time. We don't see any of those going bad unless they're misused. But what happened during that same time until our current president came along and said, go back with all the old high flow everything and pump more water into the ground. But up until that time, there's a whole bunch of houses that have managed to probably cut their water flow in half. So we end up using these old designs to make the old capacities to make these big systems. And now we're sticking with those for new design. It's fine. But now people like Sarah come along and say, gee, I'd like to do something. And I think we ought to get ourselves in a position that a homeowner could say, you know what, we're only using, not because of how many people we have, but from an engineering standpoint, that they've replaced all these fixtures or put new fixtures in that are using half the water or less. And so they ought to get credit for that and not have to put money into bigger septic systems. And then Sarah would be a great time for us to say, let's really look at this and have a policy that makes sense for people in the town.
Good
But for
stuff.
this point, for just this part of it, that had come later, that Sarah just requested that we unlock her project as long as she's agreeing that she won't even try to get the CO until this is resolved. What is
Yeah.
your thoughts, Bill?
That's fair. Again, that would be documented in the way we sign off, but I agree with that concept. Absolutely.
So Colleen, since we've done that, although I think Lee may be on board now.
Julie is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we're here.
So
Yep.
were you listening to that, Lee?
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
are you on board? Are you on board too that we unlock this and then deal with, Sarah's completely committed to dealing with whatever she has to do with the septic system, but just let them get going, and then we'll deal with the septic a little bit later. We'll have plenty of time to do it, but she doesn't want to lose this building, period.
No, I get it. And that makes perfect sense from, as you and Bill have mentioned, and we should proceed in that direction.
Okay. So Colleen, since we've agreed to that, if you can let Tom know that we've said that he can let the building permit go, but that both the owner and the Board of Health has said until the septic system issue is resolved,
Mhm.
they won't be able to get a CO, and they agree that's fine.
Okay, I can call Tom, yeah.
So Sarah, that should get you moving.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your understanding in all of this. It's been a long road and I appreciate your help.
Sarah,
Okay.
glad we could help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Okay, bye.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
So let's go back. We'll start reading what we have on my report. Unfortunately, my report didn't go out till late today because I've been working and trying to review things, and they were slow. I'll do the first one with out of order, or the second one out of order. It's going to be Peter LaBarbera at 107 Cold Hill Road. It's a new construction. It's just so you get it, so you know where this is. If you go on Cold Hill from the north side and go just as you go to where Cold Hill Drive comes in, and go a little bit, just a tiny bit down the hill. The driveway for this lot is actually at the bottom of that hill, but the lot itself is just to the south of where, in fact, I can't remember the name of the guy that lives right across from that. It used to be, when I was a kid, it used to be the Clements.
Well, it's
that
Jim
lived there.
McMonigal's property.
So, well, it's across from McMonagle. It's not
Yeah.
Jim McMonagle's are on the east
East
side.
side,
It's the
yeah,
west
this
side.
lot's on the west side, that's right.
And in fact, it goes up against Chapel Hill or one of those in South Hadley. It
Yeah,
butts up
Rondelay Road.
Rondelay. So
Yeah.
so anyways, it's in there. It starts it as you look at the topography, it slopes from the road, Cold Hill, basically levelish and then drops down to Rondelay. So it has the back half of the property definitely slopes down, and that's where the SAS is. And it also, on the southern half of the lot, it has another slope that slopes to the south. So it's kind of like a dome back there. So, and it's shallow to rock. It's between 5 and 6 feet. There's the 4 feet of naturally occurring stuff is there. So it is new construction, complete system, 4-bedroom house. The fee is paid, but I don't know what the number was. The review is complete. As I said, it slopes kind of steeply down to the rear, and I've got to the south, but it's also south and west. It's cleared at 3.2 acre lots, 60 to 72 inches to ledge. There wasn't any water. I'm guessing the water runs right on the ledge though. Issues of the slope, shallow to ledge. The well is in place, and it's in a good location for the system. The design is for a new 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank with outlet filters. It's got 6 trenches that are 25 feet wide by 4 infiltrator lengths. It's terraced, it's vented, 561 gallons a day provided versus 550 required. Fill is required. The reserve area is provided between and adjacent to the existing trenches. Peter's got an EPDM barrier around the north edge of the SAS and kind of comes around a corner, both corners a little bit, just to control breakout. 4-foot water table separation. Ballast is I didn't put the perk rate, but the perk rate's slow. It's over 10 minutes. The ballast is not required for the septic tank. Siltation control isn't needed or specified. The septic tank and SAS separation to wetlands and other wells more than 100 feet. Discussing that there is not a trench permit note that has to be added. Our fill regulations. Peter did not extend his fill to the west so that it gives the 5-foot clearance for the reserve area. So he's got to add that in. There has to be a note added that he's got a bottom strip that he's going to look at, but he doesn't have a note that says the Granby Board of Health requires our own inspection. He's got just a note that doesn't really affect anything that says that there are no other wells within 50 feet of the septic tank. And in fact, there are no within 100. And that note should go to 50 feet. And that's it. Or Lee and Bill, do you have anything on it?
Dick, obviously I'm recused on this one. As everybody knows, I've worked for Tom in the past, so I'm recused.
Okay.
Hey, Peter.
Lee, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have nothing I can throw at this one. Everything looks good.
Okay, so Colleen, we're set
Okay.
with that one, and Bill recused.
Yep, thank you.
So Peter, that didn't take you long. Well, I think you're muted.
Peter, your signal's muted.
Well, it's
We
okay.
see your
If
mouth
you can hear
moving,
us,
but
you
no
know
audio.
you're all set.
You're good. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is Neil. Neil's got 3 of them, and they are not finished on my end. The first one is lot 13.11 School Street, new construction. Now, this one is a lot to put, if you come in from 202 and you go past, you could go past the, I'll call it the junkyard, the auto salvage. Keep going until there's a hill. There are houses on the right on a hill. The hill drops down, ends on the right. On the left, there are houses that are, I call them newish, but they're probably 25 years old. And then there's a pond. And after the pond, there's a flat spot. And I can't remember how wide, but I'll say it's 75 feet wide. And then it goes steeply up. And this is a lot that used to be part of the house that was just to the north of the pond. So we're on the east side of School Street. I thought that the review isn't complete, that the issue that I had is that I've said on my thing, stop, that means show the review. Stop, because the soil log on hole 3 calls out that the groundwater elevation is at about 284.8.
Yeah,
And
can
the
I address
bottom-
that? Can I address,
Sure.
that's a typo. That, he actually cut and pasted from 126 South Street, because that had a 4 and a 25 perk. And so he changed the profiles, but never changed the perk rates. We didn't have any water table in any of the holes. And we had a 10 and a less than 1 perk. So I did design for 5-foot separation and a 0.6 loading rate. So that was a typo, unfortunately.
Oh,
But
so
the,
that's
yeah, the packet that with the soil logs that were attached show the correct information. But I'll get that. That's on me, obviously. So I'll get that corrected.
So then all this other stuff that I have, we can still, I guess we can just wait. Because we'll have to read it again, and since we're not going to act on it. Did you
that's
catch are the other things that I had down there designed for the perk rate? So the water table's wrong, the perk rate was wrong. You're
Yeah,
looking
and so
for
I gotta
ties
put some
needed
extra
for the
ties, yep.
septic tank. Okay, so
Yep. I'll take care of those. Yep. And the
Okay.
additional reserve area. Yep.
Okay. The next one is 128 South Street. It's a repair, complete system designed for a 3-bedroom house. This one's an interesting one because it started off being an ADU going there. So that of interest is when we get to the end, we need to, as a board, we have to talk about nitrogen loading because it really affects this one. And we ought to understand what we as a board are doing with designs of leach fields versus water loading. But so this is a cleared slope gently down to the west lot, but 2/3 of an acre, glacial till. This one, Neil, you think is 41-inch water table?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And a
Yeah.
perk
Yeah.
rate-
This is the log he cut and pasted. So,
Yeah.
so
So this one again says it's 4 and 25 minutes per inch. I'm not sure if both of those are right. The
yeah, those are
lot-
right.
Okay, so lot sizes is issues shallow. There's a shallow well on this and water table. The design is for a new 1,500 compartment septic tank. We have to pay attention to this because this one Neil's got some stuff going on with this one. With an outlet filter. There are 4 3-foot by 65 foot by 1.15 effective depth trenches. They're level, they're vented, they're 550 gallons a day provided versus 440 gallons required, still is required. The reserve area is not provided. There's a concrete wall and polyethylene barrier installed on the north, east, and west side of the SAS. There's none on the south side. There's a 4-foot water table separation. Ballast is required for the septic tank and pump chamber. The existing septic tank is going to be pumped, crushed, and removed. Siltation control is not specified. Sorry, I got a little tickle. The septic tank and SAS separation to the wetlands and other wells is greater than 100 feet. The well to the tank separation is the well to tank separation is 84 feet. Now the well is a shallow well. So the issues that I have is the trench permit needed, the fill is needed. We would require a water test. Now today,
That's been
today,
done.
there's a 2-bedroom house on 2/3 of an acre. So it doesn't even now, doesn't fit the nitrogen sensitive area. The septic tank and the pump chamber, we were going to have more than 100 feet to the well. It can be more than 100 feet, but it's not. The ties, I'm saying ties needed for the tanks. Additional ties needed for the SAS. Neil's designer still has trouble recognizing that if you swing 2 arcs, that SAS can move. So, because all that's got to do is a trapezoidal linkage. And all it's got to do is stay connected someplace on each of those arcs. So it can, the 2 ends can rotate on those arcs. So you need a 3rd tie.
Dick, can I opine on something?
Yeah.
This is 128 South, correct?
Yeah.
126.
126.
126, okay. 126, okay, 128 is 0.63 acres. This one is, just under 0.7 acres.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
these homes abut the LaFlamme farm. So the question is, do you think LaFlamme farm, do you think they're using nitrogen-based fertilizer on the LaFlamme farm?
Do I think? Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, whatever we put in the ground from wastewater, I think dwarfs or is dwarfed by the fertilizer placement on the big field behind that house.
So
Again,
that's why
just as a practical matter, just as a practical.
Right, and that's what a question. That's why it's not something that
Right.
I've said has to be. The other thing that we let's get through it, and I'll move back to what happens to us when we end up with the SAS design and how we end up doing it and what
Yeah.
it does to the septic system and the nitrogen. Neil we've told Neil that if they increase this thing, and especially if they do an ADU, that well is going to end up having to be replaced, and that it comes into a whole different world once you put another dwelling unit. And the guy knows that the breakout on the south side of the SAS, when I go through and do the math of it and look at the elevations, that I don't see that this thing can be done without having the same wall going around there. And that's just a matter of physics. Someone goes and geometry and says, can it fit? And when I do it, it can't fit. And that's not, I'm not the guy who's supposed to do it, other than I'm checking the design and says it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. And also now with that well, Bill, as you've pointed out, the code says that a wall needs a PE stamp on these designs. So as we look at this, though, what we need to be careful for, and it's come up a couple times, but it's going to come up here, is that when we end up telling people that they have to increase the size of their leach field by a factor, and then we do it by, instead of saying it has to go up by 25%, or we say, oh, you've got to increase the capacity by the extra, what we call the 110 gallons for the kitchen. So it essentially says you're going to increase the capacity of the leach field by 33% for a 3-bedroom house. So we have to realize that that's what we said about leach fields. But if you're not careful, you back into someone saying, hey, you just crossed over into nitrogen sensitivity. If you say that's the volume, you've got to go in there. And then all of a sudden, in a case where Neil had this thing originally set up for an extra bedroom, so with the 2 extra kitchens, all of a sudden his septic tanks aren't big enough. And so we have to realize that what we've done is we've asked for a SAS size increase. We haven't just arbitrarily increased the whole size of everything in the system. So we have to do that. So this one, until you deal with these, Neil, this one's not done either.
So what, I guess, what's the answer? What do you want him to do? I mean, we discussed this and so he decided to put the ADU, if he does an ADU in the existing house. So that would become a 3-bedroom. He added a kitchen that's not there, potentially could be there. And so we discussed that and you said, so unless he designs for that second kitchen, you'll never let an ADU go in there. And you also said that if he does do an ADU, he has to drill a well. He's aware of that. But he's not doing an ADU yet. He's just getting ready in case he does do it. So right now, his well is sufficient.
Right. And but you have to do the test that we have you do.
I did the test and I thought I had already sent it, but I
emailed it. It's been so long.
I sent it again tonight. So you definitely have it. So
the question is, if you look at these things, it looked to me like you got a pump. You could easily say, you know what, we could get the 100 feet. You definitely need to look at that south side, Neil. I don't think it just doesn't fit the way you've got it designed. He doesn't put the elevations in.
Okay. All right. I'll add a wall there. Not a big deal.
But this one, as we talked about, he's just designing an extra big leach field. That's all he's doing.
Right.
And there's nothing in the code that stops you.
But so one of your comments, it says well needed for any bedroom increase beyond existing 2.
Or physical bedroom. So what it really meant is that if he builds an ADU,
he has to do the well. Okay, he knows that. Okay.
That's what that really is. And it's not what this is a item of discussion, and it's stuff that I typically would, in a design review, I'd get in touch with you, but I've just had so many things, and you had so many things on these designs. I said, I'm never going to get any of them done if I try to get through each one of yours. And I just said, I'm just going to put these down as discussable items, and it shows up here.
Okay.
The next one is, I think this one's just simple. New construction.
Oh, by the way, Neil, did you just do coliform and bacteria, or did you not do nitrogen as well?
No, I definitely did nitrogen.
You did. Let me scroll.
Yeah, that's the one we want. That's the one we want.
Yeah, I know. That's the one you want. It's on there.
Scrolling through this right now. Hold on.
You know what's interesting? I had a guy drive up my driveway yesterday or the day before, and he lives on a street that's got all shallow wells, or lots of shallow wells in sand, and he's a very responsible environmental guy. And he wanted to know where he could test his water, because he's afraid he's got nitrates in his water, and from his own fertilizing. And what I did tell him is that, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't had one of these systems that, and Neil is the one I think that's done most of the checking on these. I think you've had the designs, Neil. And do you recall any of them that have failed a nitrates test? I don't think
No, no, no.
Yeah, Dick, this one on South Street, nitrate came in at 1.56. And of course, the allowable limit is 10. So it came in around 15% of the allowable. So that's fine.
So it's good. And I would guess here that the system, if you look at the water table gradient on this spot that Neil walked on, it has to be sloped downhill to the west. It's going down into La Flamme. Even where La Flamme puts stuff on, it's headed toward Stony Brook.
I agree.
So that's that one. The next one is 288-2 Amherst Street.
Well, it's really 294. It's really 294.
294 Amherst Street.
Yeah, 294.
I might have.
Yeah, you got that from Alan, so that's okay. You do typos too.
Oh, I do too, for sure.
I do too.
So this one, to get us oriented, if you're going on Amherst Street, cross over Aldrich Lake and hit Bachelor Street. So that's coming in from your right, and then you immediately start going up the hill. And just as you go up the hill, you actually cross a little brook I don't know if it's a brook, but it's a little low spot.
Yeah, I'm looking at the aerial photo right now.
And then there's a lot that heads off to the right, to the east.
Yeah, it's a flag lot. Yep.
Just before you're going up the hill. In fact, I think it abuts Eddie Tromke's old house. So it's just before you start going up the hill, or just as you start going up. And this lot this house is well up there, parallel to Bachelor Street, up in the woods. And it turns out that where that hill on your north or the west there is really pretty nasty till. This lot has got sand on it. And there's a fair amount. So this one is the design. Let me see. Is that it's a 8,300 square foot lot, deep sands, no observed water table. There are wetlands to the south, that little brook type thing. The issues are the wetlands. The other I had I've said is an issue is our observation holes weren't not really under where they put the trenches. The design is for a new 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank with outlet filter, 3 3-foot by 54 foot by 1.2 foot effective depth trenches. They're vented. I didn't say that they're terraced. I think they're level. The 440 gallons a day provided versus 440 required. Neil is calling out for some fill. The reserve, I've got this thing. This is another typo, Neil, because I've got that. That's another one I did. It says the reserve area is not provided. Maybe it isn't.
Well, it is on the
On the drawing?
septic layout, but not on the cross section.
Yeah. Pardon me, Neil. What's the address of this?
294.
294 Amherst Street, according to Mass Mappers, an existing house.
Yeah, but they've subdivided. They have an approved A&R.
Okay.
Yeah, they have an approved A&R.
Okay.
Okay, so there isn't, on one of the views, there isn't a reserve area. Okay, 5-foot water table separation is provided. Ballast isn't required. So this is my cut and paste. Existing septic tank to be pumped, crushed, and filled. That's not true. And I've said that there is siltation control specified. The septic tank and let's say a separation of wetlands and other wells is greater than 100 feet. So where I've got to discuss is the trench permit, fill regulations, needed fill for the last reserve trench. So there must have been something I saw reserve trench on some drawing, Neil, because I've called out that you didn't put enough fill. So someplace I thought,
Well, on the cross section, it doesn't show the 9 foot, but on the system layout, it does. So I'll add it to the cross section.
okay. The additional tie needed for the SAS, the ties needed for the septic tank, change all street references. There's at least 2 of them that say Amherst Road as compared with Amherst Street. And it's significant in that Amherst Road is right near there.
Yeah, I only found it once, but oh yeah, I see it again. Okay, yep.
So doing that, and then what happens is if you look at I think we're probably in good soil, but I don't know. If you look at the deep holes, Neil, that you put the leach field so that only one trench kisses the 2 holes, and the whole rest of the system, basically the whole system, other than those little spots that kiss them, aren't in any of the holes that we dug.
Well, if I slide it to the north, will that be okay? I was just trying to keep it
If you
away from the
did-
driveway.
If you did,
Okay.
if you split it 20 feet, you could avoid, or whatever it is, you could stick the 2 holes in the middle of the system and we should
All
be
right,
fine.
I'll just shift it over.
And then it works. Then you don't have to spend any more money
Right,
or
okay.
time. But that's what I had. And we talked, Neil, when you weren't here, the last time, there's a question of the board has said for these, that we're in general, we're concerned that both, at this point, there were 3 of you, but at this point, you and Bobby are doing stamping that the person of record is a third party person in both of the cases. And our concern is that they're not involved. And that we as a board at the last meeting said that these discussions should involve them. They should understand and be owners of what they're stamping. And I think if Lee and Bill are again, if I'm not here, it's going to be you 2 guys that are making up the rules, and not the 3 of us. But the last time we met, we said that we thought that I'm going to, while we're talking though, I'm going to speak for someone that Neil ought to be. I know I can see it on the other side of his glasses. He's really ready to tell me something. Say this to us. That we're saying to have those guys here and listening. And when Neil and I were out in the field, Neil said, "Hey, do you think that vice president of Tie and Bond that throws his big old fancy seal on the drawing that he puts out, do you think he's ever been out of the field, or does he really have any ownership, or does he have faith in the people that are working for him?" And and Neil asked me what I thought. And I thought, I probably didn't see those vice presidents. They dress in really, really nice suits, at least when I used to deal with them. And my guess is that they aren't walking through the brambles in those suits. So do we stick with this? So for sure, we're feeling it on both of you guys that Neil, yours is worse because you've got another person in there, the designer. When you say, "Oh, that guy did this or that guy did that," and it's kind of like the dog ate my homework kind of thing. Recognizing that as you saw, I made mistakes here tonight, and but the mistakes we're talking about aren't usually they're not. I don't think they're your mistakes. I think you know what you're doing, but the guy that's doing the design makes those mistakes, and you're not catching them, but I am.
he's not doing the designs. He's actually just doing drafting, but.
Yeah. So I don't know, Lee and Bill, how do we try to get at this?
Well, what's our objective, Dick?
Well, one objective would be that you meet what the code says. And the code says that those guys do have ownership. They're responsible and maybe they don't do it right. Maybe they don't review. Maybe they hire someone to review so that they do it. But there's going to be trouble if I'm not here in 2 weeks. Somebody's going to be going through this baloney, and it's not fun. I tell you, it wasn't fun today. So that one of the ways to do it is to come up with the guy that I dealt with from the state gave me a copy of the state review form, what they use when they go through a system. And one of the ways to do it is to say, okay, this review form, the designer goes through the review form and he checks it off and he gives it in with the design and said, okay, that's all been reviewed. I don't know. Right now, if you had, in either case, if either of these designers were here, and I thought about it after, because I was fully on board with the three of us, and they're definitely saying to comply with the regulations. But if you say, is it going to make, from my selfish standpoint, the design review easier? But I hear all sorts of things that when you look at health agents not being there, I have got a feeling, at least what I'm told, is the health agents are not experts in septic system design. I will say that the guy that I dealt with at the state, I would say was an expert in septic system design. So if Neil had his person here right now, what would we be doing different? We know that by code, Neil can't sign off on it. And I don't mean Neil.
What would happen is Neil would have his
person-
engineer sanitarian present at this meeting. And maybe theoretically, we could ask that person all the technical questions instead of asking Neil, ask the designer of record the questions. That's probably the appropriate thing to do. Because he's the person signing off, or she's the person signing off on the system.
Do it.
I mean, that was,
That's one
that
way to
was my
think
name.
about it. That's one way to think about it.
right, that I thought was the whole concept of this. So Neil,
But that gives Neil some more insulation, because that individual could actually, like what Dick's saying, go through the checklist, and that individual could go through the checklist to actually do Dick's work for him as another layer, as a final internal review. You see what I'm saying? You have another internal reviewer before you give it to the Board of Health for the external review. And maybe the number of potential issues would go down markedly. That's possible. Maybe not, though. Just thinking out loud.
Well, there's certainly a thing that if you had the person who stamped it say, I went through and I looked at all of these things and they're all there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I know what's going to happen. If it were me, the guy would be telling Neil, hey, Neil, take this thing and go through it and sign it off and give it to me and I'll sign that too.
That's right. See, that's exactly right, Dick. That's exactly right. I guess there's always a way to beat the system.
The way to beat certainly the way to make it easier for me is for anybody. I don't care if it's Neil or anybody. Just look at it. I start looking at these designs. Oh, you know what, Neil? There is one that I didn't. There's another one that I didn't do for tonight. The one on Carver Street. I did do it, and I don't see it. I didn't write it up.
Was that 294 approved? 294 Amers? Was that
No,
approved?
nothing was. No.
No. Okay.
There's another one. There's a Carver Street one.
There is a Carver Street.
And I had it in my hand and it was on my pile. What happens is it doesn't have a full packet. It's a revised design. And I can tell you right now, Neil, that one has the same, there's the two issues that I recall that were problematic were the design of the septic system from the ADU, a septic tank from the ADU, that the elevations don't work. It's up out of the ground. And the connection for the two effluent streams to go in before the D box have to be detailed. Those I may just looking at, but it wasn't ready either. You remember it's on Carver Street, right, Neil?
Yes.
Just keep hanging there for a second now. I don't see it. It's got buried in a loose drawing file, I'm afraid. And I'm gonna have to go find it. But if you look, you definitely will find those. I'll look it up, Neil, and I'll tell you what it is. But it definitely is still an elevation problem, and it is with that ADU tank.
The ADU tank, okay.
So, well,
So at the, on this topic, this is something that the state, this is the code topic. Am I at the very base? Is that fair to say is correct?
yeah.
So
that's what it. Maybe the issue is to look at that, Neil, for you to take a look at what it says in the code about who signs off and how it's done, and to look and say, are you doing that or are you not doing that?
Okay.
well, so two questions, please. How likely is it, Neil, that the guy who's doing this work with you can dial in like we're doing right now to a meeting once in a while?
I don't think he'll do it. Be honest with you.
Okay. So what happens? Well, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Right.
What do other towns do, if anything?
Nothing. As far as, no, they don't do anything.
Okay.
I mean, well, Belchtown,
I
Belchtown
figured that was
makes,
coming, but I didn't.
no, Belchertown makes the whoever stamps it sign the COC.
Okay.
That's actually a good policy. That's a good
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah, I agree.
Ones that the COCs tonight that are here, you've got him signing.
I figured that wasn't a bad idea.
Okay.
Okay, I've got, while you guys are doing it, you keep talking to Neil and then I'm gonna see if I can read my pen strategy on the lot. So I guess, Neil, I'll just talk to you about this offline, the other one, because I've got a breakout there. You'll see that not only that, the tank that I talked about, but if you look at the cross section of the system, the actual SAS, it just doesn't match. And if you look at the ground levels that you've got shown on the cross section of the trenches, and then put it back onto the ground levels that are in where the system at the topo. I mean, it's like it's a different drawing. They're not the same elevation.
Okay, I'll check that.
But I will look. That's just to give you an idea. It would have been the same thing. It would have been, see, that they don't match. So
So if the state
anyway,
for
that's
some
what
reason,
those are. This was a tough one tonight to go through. So we haven't closed on this. So one is looking at how you comply with the code. But but from my standpoint, what it really is trying to make it so that not putting responsibility, that's not so much a problem, because what our whole philosophy is, we don't want to have anything that goes in not in compliance with what it needs to be. So it's not really saying, oh, let's get the guy with the stamp so we can go get him when it's wrong. It's way more, how do we make sure that the thing isn't wrong? That's what the real issue is. So maybe the issue, Neil, is in your court, that when you get it back from your designer or whatever, your draftsman, that you're not doing the same thing I'm doing.
Right. Make sure there's no typos.
Well, some of these aren't typos. Some of these are really some of these are really bad things.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is, but there certainly is a thing that what brought it to this discussion was actually from one of the other professionals that said, hey guys, and the person handed me 2 sheets of paper, and they said, how is it that I have to spend my time and use my license to comply with this, and you guys are just saying, that part of the code you're not going to enforce? And I didn't have a very good answer. I didn't have a good answer. And I guess ultimately, if one of those guys I'm guessing that the person involved doesn't especially want the business. It's not like he's trying to say, gee, you're doing this cheaper, or you get more of the jobs. I don't think the guy's interested in business. But he just think, but ultimately, if someone goes to the DEP and says, hey, look what Granby Board of Health is doing, that stuff will come down on us. So at least be looking and say we have to be looking at what the code says we're supposed to do.
Okay.
It's not just you. It happens that there were 3 people. One of them, I think, has dropped out of the business that was doing business this way, and there is another guy. That's the same discussion is going to have to, and whatever we do, we have to do it the same way. So,
Well, and going forward, whether or not it's an election year, but it is, and in the event that the board is different in 2 or 4 weeks, Bill would have a pretty good chance of working through this. And other than basic stuff, I'd be a fish out of water at this, which would give the person sending the designs in the upper hand. I get it. You know what I mean? But the point is well taken that, and I'm not suggesting that anyone's taking advantage of anybody else, but the day may come where to use the wrong term, the playing field has to be leveled off a little bit. And the other thing, which is obvious to me, and I'm sure everybody's on the same page with this, is that one of the 3 members puts in a tremendous amount of time and energy into this, which I don't have since I'm still working full time. I think Bill's working full time as well, which doesn't mean that it should all fall on Dick's shoulders, but it does. And I would be more than open to have a discussion with whoever, Neil, or whoever, to come up with a way of getting where we need to be without tremendously raising anybody's rates. But if that's what we have to do, then I don't know the solution to the problem. At some point in time, as we're being pressured by the this Hampshire County Coalition, I think they eventually would like to assume a lot of this work and take it away from some of the smaller towns, Granby being one of them. And at that point, I'm not sure how they're going to address this whole topic. But that day's coming as well. So, that being said, I'm just, I'm open to some discussion back and forth to work with everyone that we're working with now, only to attain the code being not sidestepped, but dealt with, and do it in obviously a cooperative, professional manner to attain the goal.
Try to make this work with you, Neil. I think it's worthwhile for the townspeople, because it doesn't seem like the good answer is to make it so that people, again, like you, that are, we just had Alan was in here for for another thing, and he was talking about, walking the ground. Not actually, it wasn't for septic system, but when you look at that, people that have the interest of this group of people that you're in, not just you, others that feel good about looking in holes and digging holes and seeing what water does and seeing what the difference is of making a good system work. It's working in little spots, doing little things compared to, we just look at tie and bond and getting tie and bonds people out and saying, gee, what's that going to do to a septic system design? $10,000 or whatever they're writing their people off at $250 an hour or something. You don't get many things done in $1,000, $250 an hour. You hardly get out on the site for that. So that you're not, and then when they're looking at it, maybe they're good for building septic systems for 500 unit apartments, but what fits on a little lot in Granby, that's not what they do. And so pushing it to say those are the only guys that are left doing it isn't going to fix our problem. It's not going to make the water quality better in the town of Granby. It's going to make it worse. So trying to figure out how to make you and the other people that are left in the niche that you're filling, make it work, is a great advantage to the town of Granby. But again, it's you too your hat is covering not the same black thick hair that used to cover. And
Exactly. Yep, true.
So this isn't a little issue for us, and it may be a big issue in 2 weeks, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Oh, we can get on with our stuff, I guess.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
try to look
thank
at my design for Carver, or your design and my reviews for Carver Street, and usually I scratch them up and then write up my little report quickly. When I go back, I can't read my writing anymore, so I'm gonna have to go through the review again.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where we are for tonight. Thank you for bearing with us.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great
Very
night.
Good, Neil. Good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Neil, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
So we went long tonight. We didn't resolve that.
Well, I mean,
That whole discussion involves about 6 talking points. Each one is worth about a day of discussion. This is an extremely complicated situation. It really is. And it's going to take a lot of thought to resolve.
It is.
well, is part of it because, like right now, there's 3 guys that are handing in designs in this area primarily. Maybe.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Bobby, Neil, and Al. That's right. Yeah.
Right. And sometimes Peter.
Yeah. Peter gets one
But
once a year. Right. That's about right.
Right. Bob
And you
Dover is
still
out.
get
Most guys are out of it. But is that the same? Is that group which is aging, as we all are? Is that part of the same group of sanitarians which are also aging out and not bothering with this line of work? Do they all just go to a larger employer for some obvious reason, such as tie and bond or others I don't even know about, to avoid the pitfalls of trying to do this on your own? So that, what I mean is the state asking us to do things in an
Well-
environment which is changing, but the state's not keeping up with the change, or
Listen,
I
Dick, you have
touch.
do you have Title V in front of you right now?
Huh.
Let's take a quick read of the code. It'll take about 2 minutes. Let me see if I can
Yep.
find it.
Part of it may be that at least our community is on the edge of where people are still using septic systems. Maybe that's what the problem is.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that.
Maybe. It may be.
Okay,
You know, it may be
general
that
provisions. All right, certificates of compliance. That's 15.021. It says the system, the installer and the designer. Now, the question is, let's look at the definition of what a designer is.
yeah, you have to go into
Yeah, so
designer
Yeah, I'm
definition.
in it right now. Okay, designer. Here's designer. A registered sanitarian or PE, registered in the Commonwealth, who has either designed the system or has witnessed all phases of the system installation for the purpose of making the certification required of the designer. So he's either designed the system or
But he's supposed to be-
it says and or has witnessed all phases of the system installation.
Yeah,
That's a weird statement. It says registered engineer or sanitarian in the Commonwealth who has either designed the system and or has witnessed all phases of the system installation for the purpose of making the certification required of the designer under 15.021.
well, it says, the first thing it says is that person has to be either a registered sanitarian or PE.
That's right.
That's the
right.
first thing.
So,
Then-
that's right.
Under that, it says, okay, once you're one of those, then you have to either have designed it
Yeah.
or you have to be familiar with the complete installation. One
Yeah.
of the two of those things, or both. But it starts off saying you have to have a stamp.
Oh,
So if you look at that person, that, you know, the third party that we're seeing in the case of Bobby and Neil, that person hasn't done either of those. Yeah, you haven't designed it. So I'm sure you
No, no.
could go and say, oh, wait a second. Does that mean you had to have designed every detail of it? No, you obviously haven't done that. You haven't designed the size of the bolts and the flanges.
yeah.
So there's some level.
Well, they're the specifier. They're essentially the specifying engineer. Got to remember, septic design isn't really design, Dick. It's more specifying because we're using canned criterion essentially.
So anyways, it tells you that
This-
they're looking for kind of hands-on people.
yeah, they're looking for the person that's stamped the drawing to sign off on the system. I think that's what they're looking for.
Or
So
it does say,
does Neil sign off on the system or does his engineer sign off on the system?
this is the first week that I've seen Neil, the engineer, sign off on.
Oh, okay.
Up until now, it's been Neil.
All right, well, that's a step in the right direction. Because now look at the liability chain, Dick. Say something goes south and this ends up in court. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I'm afraid they're gonna come at least be saying, hey, Board of Health, you guys are reviewing this and everything, but you know that Neil doesn't have the oomph to be doing this. How come you're letting that happen?
That's right.
You-
So
you certainly can go back and say, well-
me and Lee are at potential peril because of this.
Yeah, but from the other standpoint, you really say that sanitarian has got a stamp and he's got a signature and say, who are we? The state is the one that gave him that license to do that. And he's got his name on a document that said, I'm responsible for this. We can look and say, are the rules followed? But does every drawing does the Board of Health have the responsibility to check who actually did the drawing or to see if somebody did a calculation? How can you do that?
Yeah.
You have to say, does it have the right stamp on it?
Yeah, I got a white paper I'm going to send you, Dick. I'm going to send you a white paper, not tonight, but at some point, and we can go. That will be a little bit of enlightening information for all of us. I'll send it out. Not tonight, though.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, this is good. This is good. These are good talking points because this is kind of a big issue. I agree 100%.
Well,
And I know
so
where Neil's coming from, and I know where all these guys are coming from on this.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to simplify things, what if an engineer that is board simply takes on the role of doing the design reviews for the aforementioned two people that are submitting designs and discontinue their current relationship with the people they're using now and make a new relationship with another local person that we're all familiar with, and there may be a little bit of money changing and maybe a little bit of a price increase. But if that's what we need to do to survive the state code, and who are we to deny it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're not, I don't think. And like I said, 5 minutes ago, if Dick hits the lottery and buys some beachfront property in New Zealand, then things are going to be a little interesting here in the future.
Well, I've seen instances where overseas engineer stamp drawings, and I mean over in Central Asia, Dick.
Yeah.
And they're stamping drawings and emailing them to people in the United States. And that's kind of the way out.
Well, we're not, as it turns out, we're not violating any of these regulations that you.
I don't think the Board of Health is, that's for sure.
I don't think so either. I think the issue that we're talking about is that, for me, is a lot of work to make these things, in some cases, be correct. But
Right.
we're the ones that are checking to make sure that the code is being followed. But for sure, we're not approving any designs that don't have PE or sanitarian stamps on it. We never do that, ever.
That's right.
And that's the part that if you're having those people show up that stamp it, and to be saying, look, we don't want to be working with these mistakes. That if you in fact are going to stamp a drawing and make it legal, then and by right, the Board of Health, he ought to be saying, hey, Board of Health, I've got the stamp to do that. You guys, who are you to be telling me not to do this? And the reason we do it is because they say, yeah, you don't comply with the regulations. That's who we are. But that's, they're the ones with the stamp. The state has said, you guys are capable of doing that. We're demanding that you have that on the drawing. And we're just, once again, saying, you know, the rules that the state has aren't, it's being left to us to protect the people in the town. And it shouldn't be. It should be, it's different to say, okay, the board has got some different rules. That the state allows you to have some more stringent rules for your circumstances. But most of the stuff isn't that. Most of it is saying comply with the rules that are written down. And that's what makes it so much work. So
Okay, maybe we should go on to the next topic.
we should go on because it's now 8:30.
Mhm.
And I can tell Colleen's getting tired.
Yeah, I am too.
Yes. Meeting minutes. Don't forget.
So we've done, the first thing is meeting minutes. How did we do with meeting minutes? I just had there weren't many corrections, were there, Colleen? There was only one little correction.
No, yeah, you just made one little correction.
How are we? Are we gonna accept these guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Colleen, we accepted those.
Okay.
The next one I'm gonna pull out of order, so we just did this. We approved 288 Amherst Street. That's the big system the big lot next to Aldrich Lake. We approved that with design. That was Alan's design.
Yeah.
He also has there's a well permit with that from, it's like Quabbin Well. And all they're doing, they're giving us the same drawing that we just approved and saying, can we put in the well where you guys just approved it? We should be okay with that, would you say?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
Lee, are you okay with that?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Next one would be Colleen has got 2 timesheets. One of them is I've got them out of order. One is from the 5th of April to the 18th of April. That's for 54 hours, their normal new time. Colleen, some of this, is this one that's got sick time in it, right?
Yes. A little, yeah, a little bit.
Okay, and then the next one is from the April 19th to May 2nd. That one has got, but also for 54 hours. That one's got some sick time in there too, Colleen.
Yes.
So are we okay with both of these?
Yes.
Yes.
I am too, Colleen.
Okay.
Then the next one is should have, we got them out of order. This one is the schedule of department bills payable. Is for bill stuff. I've got 2 things. One is the mileage for 1320 for 33 miles, and the other is for inspections. That is 29 inspections of $35, and that's $1,015. Lee, Bill, are you going to just abstain for this one?
Oh, yeah, I'm recused on this one because it's my invoice. Thank you.
Okay.
Lee, are you all set with this?
Yes, thank you.
I am too, Colleen. So that's
Okay.
approved. The next one is department payable to the treasurer, and that's for this period is $3,110 of that is $1,150 for Board of Health permits, $960 for Board of Health licenses, $1,000 for Board of Health fees. And that's it. That's for the total of the 3110. Are we set with that?
Yes.
Yes.
I am too, Colin, so that's
Okay.
approved. The next one is going to be, this is for a bakery license. A bakery temporary food permit for Charter Day for Amy's Route 9 Bakery for Charter Day. Colleen, this is only for bakeries, right? Baked goods.
Yeah,
right?
she has a licensed kitchen and it's just,
And
it's
she has a
all,
licensed kitchen besides.
yeah, it's all not non-potentially hazardous. Yeah, so just baked goods.
Was this one that Lynn will, on all of these, I guess, Lynn will inspect them, huh?
I don't think she needs to inspect that one, but the others will be because there'll be all the food, the mobile food.
This one isn't. If she's gonna have a booth there, should we just have Lynn just do that instead of saying there's one that she's not gonna inspect?
Oh, yeah, well, that's up to you. Yeah.
That she could be hooked up to the water, or she could have something that's not right that you say, gee, this is site specific, that Lynn ought to just say, oh yeah,
Mm.
you're not taking your water out of the bucket.
Yeah, I'll give her that one to inspect also. Sure.
Are we okay with this one and give it to Bill and Lee? Give it to Lynn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I am too, Colin.
Okay.
The next one is Women of Church of Christ temporary food permit for May 23rd. It's a tag sale food booth on the Common. Are we set with this one? I am.
Yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Well, we're all together, Colleen. That's
Okay.
approved too.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is a renewal to operate a mobile food server. This is the High Place from South Hadley. They have their own light food prep place.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a
Yeah, they got their own
renewal.
kitchen. Yeah.
Are we okay with this? I am.
Yep.
Bill? I
Yes.
am. So all three
Yeah,
of us
I'm
are
good.
fine.
Okay.
Next one, I can group them if we want. We've got renewal for Bruiser's Barbecue. He's furnished. And now this one is for a mobile food service for teas and dessert. There's another one is mobile food server for pulled pork and sandwiches. He shows that he's got a license in Chicopee for his base of operations. So that's one. The next one is Hoppy's Concessions. This is all going to be for Charter Day. And that one is for this year is they are permit to operate a food establishment. Copies that they've got one in Cummington. They've got a license from the Cummington to do that. Are we okay for this one?
Yes.
I didn't ask on the
Yes.
last one. Are we okay also for Bruiser's Barbecue?
Yeah. Yes.
I am too.
Yes.
Okay. The
Okay.
third one is Dino's Concession. They also, now these are all subject to Lynn going to
Yep.
Colleen.
Yes.
This is
Mhm.
hamburgers, hot dogs, corn dogs, and grinders. And another one is fried dough funnel cakes, fried Oreos, fried Twinkies, fried candy bars. There's two of them. And they also have their annual license to operate he does it out of Tom's Long Dog and Grill from Whately. They've got their license and their permission, then the owner's permission to Dino. So are we okay for that one too? Those two.
Yep.
I am too. All of those are subject to Lynn.
Mhm.
Next one is the Melt. And this is a wedding at Uh, it looks like it's a Dufresne. But it's actually to operate a food service, mobile food service. They've got a base of operations certificate. So they're all set in the town of Boylston. Are we set for that one?
Yes, we're good, Dick.
I am
Yep.
too, subject again to Lynn. The
Mhm.
next one is going to be let me get my things out of my way. This is McKinstry Market Garden. And it's actually a license to sell retail food. And there's another one, a license to sell milk and cream. And this is in the old Sapowski farm. Their building.
Mm-hmm.
I guess subject once again to, since with new ownership, for sure Lynn should go in, I would say, huh?
Yeah,
Bill, are you okay with this?
Yeah,
she
Yeah.
should go. Sure.
that's
So
fine.
that's approved.
Okay.
The next one is, this is for Carol at Happy Days Mini Golf and Driving Range. And this first one is for manufacturing frozen desserts and ice cream. The next one is to operate a food service establishment with disposable plates and utensils to be used, and food prep with minimal grease generating food, annual pumping of septic tank required. The third one is to sell retail food at also, all three of those. Are we set with this?
Yes.
Yes.
And I am too, Kelly.
Okay.
The next one is, this is an application. Now it's just the application for a disposable system construction permit. And this was for, I can't even read it. This is from Bobby Stan. And I think this was for a tank and debox. I'm trying to see what this is. Colleen, maybe it's just a tank.
Tank, let's see.
Yeah,
It
with a
says-
new 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank. I don't know if it's not bright enough in here for me, and I don't have a light. Do you know for sure what this is, Colleen? Is it just a tank? Is this
It says with new 1,500 gallon 2-compartment septic tank with gas baffles and outlet filter, tank to be connected, blah, blah, D-box to be replaced.
okay, so it's a tank and debox.
Yeah.
Lee, this is just the application, but are we also, I thought I saw someplace on my list that is the certificate of compliance.
Oh,
Let me
no,
see.
not for this one.
No, it's just an application.
Just the
So are we
application.
okay? Lee, in fact, this was an emergency. I think it's in anyway. I think Greg put this in. I'm not positive. Lee, do you know?
No,
Okay.
I can check with Greg. This
Yeah.
is for 16 Crescent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understood that this was a tank that the top had collapsed and people were going to fall in it. So,
This must be
So we
across
can-
from the highway department garage then.
that's what I think.
That-
That's
that-
what I think.
I'll check, I can check with Everson about that, Dick. To
But
be sure.
this would have been a fill system. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't approve the application.
Well, you're right, yeah, that's that mounted system. They all are, yeah.
Yeah. Are you okay with this, Bill,
Yeah,
too?
I'm good, Dick. Thank you.
Okay. The next one is, it's got a double one. Oh, this is Cindy's. And this is Alan signing off on the certificate of compliance. And And as a second, it's actually two documents. It's a COC, but it's also an as-built. Are we okay with that, Lee?
Yes, Cindy's, yeah, that's all done. Joshua Fugler did that. Yep.
Bill, are you set with that too?
Yeah, I'm good, Dick.
I am too, Colleen. So that's
Okay.
both the COC and the as-built. The next one is, now this one is for Paul Campagna signed off on this, Neil Jackson and looks like Greg Everson. So this is certificate of compliance for Lawrence Humphrey at 95 Taylor Street.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a tank and distribution box.
That's correct, yes.
And this one's done?
It is, yes, about, I don't know, 5 to 6 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay. Are you okay with this, Bill?
Yeah, I'm good, Dick.
I am too, Colleen. So that's
Okay.
Here's another certificate of compliance. This is Alan Sapolsky of 128R School Street. It looks like a new distribution box. This is also
Yes.
signed by the engineer. So that's done, Lee?
That is correct, it is in, yes.
I'm okay with this. Bill, are you?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
the next one is from Alan Weiss, and this is both a COC and an as-built for Codier Lot 1, 92 Chicopee Street. I think this one may be the one that was installed with the house not built yet.
92 Chicopee.
But I'm the one, I inspected that one. I'm not sure why I'm the one that inspected it, but I did inspect that.
That's the new construction. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Keith Bradway did that.
Yes,
And
that was the
it
one I
actually-
think that Gary was running out of time, and it was they crammed it in, within.
Yeah, they
minutes
only had
of
like
the-
2 weeks to get it done or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that was just poor planning on their part.
Yeah. So I did inspect that. That was a good system. Are we okay with this one?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, Colleen, then we're set with that.
Mhm.
The next one is Eversource Energy, and this is a beaver, out of season beaver trapping. And it was flooding an electric line, and they were looking for I think they wanted to start today? Or this week, Monday?
This week, yeah.
And it looks like you signed off on it, Bill.
Yeah, we coordinated with with the trapping people and conservation. And I don't approve the method to euthanize the beavers, but that's the way it is.
What is the Hancock trap, the one that drowns them?
Yeah. Awful.
Huh.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I've actually seen, I think is that the one where they anchor one end of the wire underwater? And what happens is it gets trapped and it tries to swim away, and it doesn't, apparently they don't swim back towards where they were. They actually go down to the end of the wire and drown.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Again, I don't like that, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. They're probably I guess compared to clamping their legs into a jawed trap and let them die that way is a pretty terrible way.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you sign off. We're just allowing this. Now, this one is only a 10-day permit. As I recall,
That's right. It's a
This can-
10-day permit. And if they want to get another one, then come for a second one.
So, in fact, I think they can get 2 renewals. So,
I think I know at least one.
so what we should do is, if that's the case, Bill, do it. Don't let me be the one that approves it. I may not be here to approve it. I'll approve this one, but my suggestion is that we let Bill, if they come in, if we're not gonna meet, what are we gonna meet? 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, they could easily, during that period, be coming for a renewal. Do we let Bill, we authorize Bill to do that again? I think we should.
Sure. Sure, yes.
Okay, so that's how we'll handle that. So that. What I didn't have is there was on my sheet, Colleen had said that there was a COC for 5 Ferry Hill Road.
I
from Neil
never,
Jackson. And
I
couldn't
never
find-
received it. Yeah, I never
Okay.
got it from Neil. He said it was coming and then I didn't get it. So before I left today, so we don't
Okay.
have it.
It looks like we have for Title V. I'm gonna see if there are 4. I read 4 Title V. See if Colleen has 4 of them. There
Yes.
are, one is at New Ludlow Road that passed from Bob Norman. Another one was at 75 Kendall Street that passed from Alan White. Both of those were modern systems, good water table separation, and I think both of those had 2 compartment 1,500-gallon tanks. So those were new ones. And then there were 2 of them, one from 37 Harris Street from Bob Norman that failed. It looked really awful. And then another one was 97 East Street from Nathan Toretti, and that looked terrible. Are we going to accept all 4 of those?
Yes, please. Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
I am too, Colleen. So those are all done.
Okay.
The next is approval for building department applications, new houses, lot 10 Carver Street. Again, why 49 West Street and 49 West Street? Now, how do we, on these, Bill, you just sign off on these? Is that what happens?
Yeah, these are building permit apps on existing homes. And the objective is to make sure they're not building over well lines or leach fields.
Well, these are 2
Yeah,
new
but
ones.
these are new homes, right?
Oh, no, new homes. I don't sign off on new homes. I left those for us to sign off on. Yeah, new homes I'm not signing off on. They got to come to the full board.
Yeah, these are these 2 that people are looking for the sign off. These 2 are new houses. The lot 10 Carver Street for Keith Bradway, and then 49 West Street. Or I don't know.
Now, both of those have approved septic systems, and do they both have wells that were installed? One of these has a well.
They do.
You sent
I
that.
sent you the water reports on these, but they both have
One of them has-
approved septics and they both have water reports that I sent.
Now, we have,
At 49 West Street, that was that lot in that wet area
yeah,
where they had to be very specific about location since there was only a very narrow
yeah.
location where the SAS could go.
And Bill, I think the Conservation Commission had to sign off on that one, didn't they?
That's right, exactly. Yep.
Now, one of these, and I can't find my list of things that I made copies of. One of these, so I've got a water report, Colleen, that you sent us for one, maybe it's lot 1, West Street, which is probably this one.
That's what, yeah, that's the 49 West Street is lot 1.
Now that one, which I don't see it, all the junk when I went looking for Neil's stuff. One of those has sodium, and I don't know the answer, has sodium that's like 40.
Oh, yeah.
With the maximum is 20. And it got that normally from Phoenix. We get Quabbin does the, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Quabbin does the bacterial. But do we know what this one means? Did you guys read this? This says that the iron level exceeds, the iron level is 0.8 and the recommendation is 0.3. So it's too high in iron. It also, then sodium is the one that I don't understand. It's also, I'm go back to sulfate, were 308 with but it's a recommended one of 250. That's not a bad one. Dissolved solids, turbidity is 8 and recommended is 5. But all that is cloudy. So the real question that I have for the board is the sodium is a different standard. It's 48, it's almost 50, and the standard is 20. But this is an ORSG level, which is different than these SMCL, which are recommended. But I don't know what do you guys know what that means? What that standard, whether this is actually rejectable water?
Bill, go.
That's a call. I could put a call into Quabbin Analytical and ask them to throw me a definition of this test.
Yeah, to try to find out, Colleen, what that
The
other
ORSG.
levels.
Yeah.
And to find out if that failing the ORSG for sodium, that 48 parts per million versus the 20 part standard. And that fails the ORSG guideline. Whether it's just a goal or whether that's actually a failed value.
Okay.
And maybe actually, you probably could call Phoenix. This is
Oh.
Phoenix number
That's there. Yes. Right. Okay.
and find out.
It doesn't say on here.
It's actually, so we could be in a spot in terms of bill. If the water on Carver Street is good, I think. So we should be able to sign off on that, have Colleen tell them that it's okay. Is that
Okay.
right, Lee?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
So we'll do that, Colleen. Are
Okay.
we in a spot so we don't wait 2 more weeks? If the ORSG limit failure is just a guideline, can we just tell Colleen she can say okay on this? But if it's something that says you can't drink it, then we shouldn't sign off if you can't drink it. Is that right, Lee?
Yeah, I would fully support that. Yeah, that way we give Colleen the option to keep the project going if it's something that's non-critical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, Colleen, did you understand that? So if when you
Yes.
call up, if they say that's just a guideline,
Okay.
that it's okay. It's just
Then
a
it'll be
guideline.
okay to go.
Then
Okay.
it's okay. If it says, no, that really is a failure. You can't, then we have to say, you have to find a way. Someone will have to get a water guy that comes in and say, I can fix it.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
they can fix it anyways. I think all they have to do is put reverse osmosis in it.
yeah, to say, tell the board what they'll do. Okay.
Yeah,
Add another,
Okay.
here's another business for us. I've got, too bad that we lost Billy,
Lost Bill.
because Ken Lane is a problem. I got a issue of the guy that's trying to pour his concrete across the street. And he ended up building his driveway up, and I think he's going to be okay. But the two issues are, it looks like the owner at 12 Ken Lane, after she promised me that the next day she would talk to someone and get that line tied up, tested and tied up to the catch basin. Looks like she certainly didn't hook it up. The question is whether she even did anything. But the one that, here's Bill coming back on.
Okay, I apologize. I lost internet for a few minutes here.
Okay, that we're on our water at 49. Lee and I approved the good water for the project at 10 Carver for Keith Broadway. But
Okay,
for 49 that failed that OSMG or whatever test, what we did is gave Colleen an assignment to go to Phoenix and ask Phoenix if that's an advisory failure, and it's okay, it's just advisory. But if it is really a non-drinkable water standard, then she has to go back to Tom Quinlan and said, no, this isn't potable water. They'll have to get somebody that says it's treatable to make it potable. But we left it so Colleen could resolve it.
that's fine.
The last item that I had is Ken Lane, 12 Ken Lane. There are two issues. Actually, there are three issues. I got dragged in again because the guy across the street has had it with his driveway flooding, and he's putting in a new concrete driveway that he lifted up about 4 inches. And he was just begging while he was pouring, could they not be pumping in the street so he wouldn't get his concrete ruined? And it looks like nothing was done, but luckily there was no water that was pumped, so it didn't ruin the first half of his pour. But the two issues, that the owner promised me before the last meeting that she would go and get the Nugent and see if they could blow out that hose or figure out why the hose going to the catch basin wasn't working. And it doesn't look like she did anything. But of other consequence is I was in, I think Friday, talking to, actually I was in the other town hall. And Chris Martin said, I just wanted to let you guys know, I talked to Diane Percy about her septic system. And he said, it looks like I'm not going to approve the loan. He says, I talked to her about it. And, I don't know what Diane said. I can only tell you what Chris said. And he said, she told me, I can't afford a penny more on my Social Security, and I'm going to get the loan from you guys, but I'm never going to pay anything back. You can put a lien on my house and take it back when I die. And Chris said, it ties up the money. A bank would never allow that. And he says, I just can't in good faith take the town's money and give it to someone that has already told me she won't pay it back. And he said, what if he didn't say, what if he was 50 years? But I did say it really starts to tie up. If everybody who takes that loan does that, it's going to pretty rapidly empty the account. So I don't know what, I'm very, very disappointed that he didn't even deal with the water that's going in the street. So I don't know. I don't know what, well, I do know if I'm not here 2 weeks from now, it's not my problem. But let's say I am going to be here, and one of the things that I like to think is we don't go to court, but are we at the point that we have to tell her, you know, you're just not being a good neighbor here? Maybe we could get her at the next meeting and ask her what she would do. If given this, you want to ask her what she would do if she were us?
Let's invite her to the meeting.
And just say, at least we can be nice to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be mean, but but I think as a board, it's probably one of the times that we either have to say, yep, flooding that street's okay, and having a septic system that doesn't work right is okay, or else, you know, she's just saying, no, I'm not going to do it.
Well,
we have
at some point, as I understand this, the septic system is non-functioning and hasn't been functioning for quite some time.
Well, we
And
can't tell
what
that. We can just say that
we can estimate it's marginal.
Well, didn't you and Al Weiss go in there and dig some holes, Dick, last year?
what we found out is that the water table the called water table was above the bottom of the septic system.
Yeah.
the leach field. So
Okay.
you could probably say what we didn't see is we didn't see at the time we dug, we didn't see the actual water table be above
Right. That's what I recall. That's what I recall.
So in terms of a system that we know doesn't work when the water table is the highest, that you could be pretty sure of that. But we still, the water in the street is really terrible. And it looks like she's just saying, I won't do even the minimal amount, even though the town put in the pipe for free. She's just saying, you know, I'm not going to do that. Even though she didn't tell
So
me that.
she's not using the pipe that David DeRocher put in?
No, she said the guy that came in said, oh, the whole problem is you put an internal coupling and it cut down the flow, and your pump is running all the time, and your basement is flooding because the pump is running all the time. So no one found out whether the pipe was plugged, no one found out anything. And at least Diane told me, she said, no, they're not engineers. They just said, oh, that's what it is. And she decided that it was the people that put in the pipe that didn't know what they were doing, and so she wasn't going in. And I explained to her that we could help her, that we could look if they got it in when the water was still high, we could look and see whether the pumps were in fact undersized or there's too much water, but it was key to get it done. So she said, I'll get it done the next day. So it's not done. It's not hooked up. So you got one on the front of her house. They've got the water. Today it was dry because the water table's back down.
All right. I mean, obviously the problem here is the tail is wagging the dog on that street, where one house is disrupting everybody else.
Yeah.
Despite the town's expense of time, labor, and equipment to rectify this, I think partly based upon the promise at a published meeting that the party in question was committed to fixing this.
Yeah.
And now we find out from the town that that's not in fact the case. So I don't know at what point in time, if any, the town entertains some type of a collaboration with DEP for a demand. I'm a little bit lost here with this whole thing. It's unfair for all the neighbors.
It's unfair for all the.
And the town can't set precedent either by keep on throwing good money after bad to correct this situation for somebody who has no interest in even trying to come to the table with a counter offer.
Even when she told me that she would, for the water on the surface problem that everybody can see, that the poor guy across the street saying, I'm trying to fix my driveway so it's not flooded. And I can't do it. I can't pour because if the darn pump comes on and destroys my concrete. He did pour, and he got away with it. It looks like, but he's gonna pour again next week, do the other half of it. But my feeling is, again, I hate to move into to win-lose or lose-lose. I'd rather, if we could get her in and try to talk to her, maybe she needs to go to financial counseling. Maybe she's, maybe there's some, I have no idea that, it's, I can't tell it, but if I looked at right now, I'm not very happy with my Comcast account, but it's $369 or $63 a month. If I were in trouble, I'd rapidly say, there's Comcast, let's get rid of that. That's $4,000 a year that I could have, that in 5 years I'd have paid back my septic system repair if I had to. So I don't know. Maybe that she's already done that, but the point is that my feeling is that it appears that the Board of Health and the neighbors are more concerned at fixing it than she is. And I guess rather than give in and lose out, go into win-lose, that having her come in and talk to us and say, okay, we want to do this one more time to try to find a way, as you said, to find the course through this, that maybe there's something that we can help her with and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have the figures. Usually every spring there's a little bit of money floating around for 0% or very, very low interest rate for this type of repair, which of course is going to be, and maybe she doesn't care about adding to the value of the house because she's planning on staying there in perpetuity. Don't know that. Right now, of course, the house is unsaleable. And maybe she misspent money on the repairs to the house. That's nothing we can know about, or there's no criticism. It's just the entire scope of the project, I think initially was supposed to be repair the inside of the house and repair the SAS, which is adding to the degradation of the inside of the house. But one got done, one didn't get done. But if she's already telling the town administrator that you can give me the money, but you'll never get a dime back, speaks volumes to a rather significant problem for everybody. I don't have any idea. If there's, going through legal procedures probably is of little value. If there's truly no finances, if there's a 0% grant, that may be of interest. But again, I have no idea. And at this point in time,
Oh, but maybe we
it's
can.
getting
Yeah.
late
Maybe
spring.
if
That
we
money's
talk
probably
to
already
her-
gone.
But that's a different story than a person that, again, I can't say, maybe she called up and maybe she did call the guy up with the pipe and he said, I can't get here yet. Who knows? But the
Yeah.
water's still flowing in the street. And that one's not a big cost item. But
Yeah.
as that turns out, if you look at what is the outward cause of the problem in the neighborhood right now, certainly her flooding the street is the outward thing that inconveniences everybody. So maybe
And of course, we also are, as we all know, the adjacent neighbor was attending the meetings in the past, and everybody was promising everybody else that this would be dealt with in the near future, and we thought by now it would have been dealt with.
Right.
So that's going to be another difficult topic coming at us sooner rather than later.
Yeah. My feeling is to get her in and find out, certainly if going after the cheap one, that's the one that everybody sees, is say, how do you stop the water from being in the street?
Yeah.
That one, and then if she really is destitute, then maybe we go to our state rep. Maybe you go to anybody and say, look, we really have a problem here that someone's going to lose their house over this thing. What is it that's available? Is there something? There has to be something. And but maybe she needs some help, as for someone who's an advocate to try to get it done.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an out and out grant, Dick. There's going to be some sort of payback scheme. I know there used to be block grants that if you stayed in the house for 15 years, the lien would go away, but you had to stay in the house 15 years.
So maybe we can, once we understand what it is, but it certainly, I don't sense that there's a hunger to solve the problem from her standpoint.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the etiology of the entire problem, or at least a good portion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have Colleen ask her to come in and talk to us?
Yeah. Don't expect a solution, and I recommend we put her on for 10 or 15 minutes only. Don't let this thing go open-ended.
No.
So put her in between a couple of other customers so that we get her in, and then we say, I'm sorry, we have to go to somebody else now. If you want to continue next time, that would be fine.
Yeah.
But
Now,
don't let her go open-ended.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right. Well,
yeah, and I think as an agenda, what we do is say the two problems are there. We got one that could be solved in a week if someone wanted it to be solved for very little money, probably.
Yeah.
But at the minimum, I don't care how small your pipe is. If the problem is that you need to pump water through the pipe. You can get a pump that's big enough that if you want to shoot it to the moon, you can shoot it to the moon.
That's right.
You know, you can pump it.
Again,
Now-
if there's some sort of constriction, just take it apart and reconnect in a different configuration.
Yeah.
That's all.
And figure out what it is.
Yeah.
But someone who's capable of working on it should work on it. But if you're just not working on it, then it's
Yeah,
a
if they
problem.
used an internal one of those barbed connectors, I could see that's a problem. If they use an over the top Fernco, double Fernco, that would be fine.
In fact, that's what I told her. I said, you know, you don't know what I'm talking about, and maybe even the Kevin Nugent doesn't understand what fern coats are, but the
Yeah.
world of plumbing knows fern coats,
Yep. Yeah,
and they don't fill up the inside of the pipe.
that's right. They're not good for heavy pressure, but in this circumstance, there shouldn't be big pressure anyway.
No.
So yeah, again, there's an 1.5-inch Fernco. You can buy one on eBay for about $8 because I bought a bunch of them.
Yeah. So the question is that but you have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it,
Right.
then it doesn't. Then there's all sorts of reasons for it not to get done.
Yeah.
And she definitely was face to face with me, mano a mano, and said, "I will do that. I will call that person. I'll find out what it is, and I will get back to you." And that part, I have no idea whether she called or not, but I do know she didn't get back to me.
Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, as we all remember, that was the same commitment at the meeting a year and some change ago.
Yeah.
About committed to getting this SAS repaired and out of everybody's life, but
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Well, that's how we'll do it. And we'll see if we can, once again, try to take the win-win way and see if we can bring, you know, our expertise to help her. And if we don't have enough expertise, we certainly, from the standpoint of pumping water in a pipe, we have the expertise.
I think we can handle that one, Dick.
We can get the water
Yeah.
out of
I think we can handle that one.
But
it, that's for sure.
there
In terms of the
There-
finances,
maybe
maybe not. But
maybe there
maybe
are
we can-
maybe there's a financial incentive through an accounting perspective to write the whole thing off over a period of time.
I don't
Maybe
know
you can
what
take
I
it off.
don't know what it is. But
I don't know if you can take it off your tax.
yeah, there are things I know that septic system failures that guys tell me that there are state grants available for some of this. So if we can find it out what we're dealing with, and we'll have to see, but I guess again it comes out that if, you know, what she told us that she doesn't have a problem. I think if the record will show that she said that. So if she really doesn't think she has a problem, there's not a lot of there can't be a lot that's driving it to get solved if you don't think you have one.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that trying to understand whether we're working on trying to make her believe she has a problem or trying to help her solve it are two really different projects. They're two
Yeah.
very different projects.
Well, hopefully we can spend some time in 2 weeks and start the path to resolution.
Yeah. But if she actually is part of the plan to get it fixed, then there's a reasonable chance we'll be successful. If we can't get her to be on board, then that's where it's back to trying to get someone's attention to get them on board. But But that unfortunately, that's not the same approach as to try to help them to get it fixed. It's trying to get them to want to get it fixed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see where we are in a couple weeks and see if we can get this one fixed in a way that instead of the lawyers making money, that we actually get stuff put in the ground, put the money into the ground instead of into a lawyer's bank book.
Yes, absolutely.
So we still may make it. We'll stay out of court. So, well, hopefully this isn't saying good night for the last time to you guys.
No, I'm confident
No,
we'll
no,
all
I
be
don't think
together
so.
in 2 weeks.
So we'll see. Colleen, I'd say go vote, but what you can do is talk to your friends in town to say go vote.
Yeah, that's right.
It actually will be interesting to see what kind of people come out for the selectmen's race, because that's what's going to end up carrying me. But it may in fact be that it's a two very different kind of group of people that come to vote. It's going to be probably in one case the old time, and if I look at where the signs end up being, it looks like it's split kind of in the old time Granby people and the progressive Granby people that are at least where the signs are going, and to see for selectmen, and we'll just have to see. So well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if both groups, if it's the bad thing of having our Board of Health is to have it working pretty well and having wells not polluted and backyards not filled with sewage and people not dying from Tripoli, that all of that stuff that just says, life is great. We don't need anybody there, instead of recognizing, gee, there's a huge amount that's occurring behind the scenes that no one sees.
Right. That's right. You're right, Dick.
Yeah.
Just when you have good processes and good people and they'll see it when you get someone who's not particularly skilled in the things that we know keep people safe, that come in as a health agent and see, and it costs you whatever with benefits, that it'll be $150,000 for sure.
Yeah.
Well, our little budget won't be so little anymore, and our little group won't be so effective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, and
Okay.
in the event that
And good luck, Dick. Good luck.
You're
in the
gonna be
event
fine, Dick.
that
I think it'll be
that this
fine
is-
too.
this
And
is
you're going
the
to
end
meet
of-
the candidates tomorrow night, correct?
I am. I'll be there. And hopefully there'll be lots of people there to ask questions, because we've got a great story to tell,
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see. But it's one way or the other. It's been terrific working with you guys.
Likewise.
Yeah,
It will
likewise.
continue.
Thank you.
I'm confident it will continue.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It'll continue, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good night.
Okay,
Okay.
Dick. Good evening. Good evening.
All
everyone.
right.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, bye. Bye.
Thank you.